In the Fuzzy Memories podcast, we celebrate the good, the rad, and the fugly of the 80s and 90s.
We're three latchkey kids who made it out alive.
And in each episode, we break down all the culture that popped, 1 year at a time.
Whether it's the birth of legends...
I'm Lyme disease free today, and I have Whitney Houston and MTV to thank. Or audacious moves.
Imagine also the poor Golden Gate Bridge. You turn 75 and people have a party on you.
Yep. I don't want that.
Or even confusing PSAs.
In the stop, drop, and roll. I mean, I assumed as an adult I would catch on fire weekly.
All the time!
We've got a take that will make you laugh.
We've also got thoughts on all sorts of random phenomena and the most unmitigated of golf.
Why sharks can't be trusted, people can't be trusted, and rivers can't be trusted. It's collusion.
It's of the highest degree.
Uh-huh.
You were counseling me to start my remarks with, first of all, bitch.
Everyone in that room would have snapped to attention.
It's going to be basically coffee lids, shark revenge, and then maybe like Matt Getz. God, we need to do something about him.
Join us every other Wednesday to celebrate the hits, the misses, and the misfits of the weirdest decades.
If I could tell my 14-year-old self from 1990 that I would be eating in a Cheesecake Factory in
Beverly Hills,
I'd be like, we did it. We did it, Joe.
We did it.
Listen and subscribe to Fuzzy Memories on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platform. Hello, and welcome to Broads and Books, the podcast with one unique theme, 4 hand-picked book recommendations, and 2 broads. I'm Erin.
And I'm Amy, and this is episode number 40. Who am I?
Who am I?
Am I? And
Who
the
am I?
am is the capitalized because we want, to really question.
This
who
is a
are
journey
we?
of self-discovery.
It is. Conveyed by capital letters.
Yes.
Yes. Well, if it's not clear, we're talking about discovery, self-discovery.
Journeys.
Yes. Trying to find our damn selves.
And along the way, what do we learn about ourselves on this road to supposed self-discovery?
So many things.
I've
learned so many things about myself. Just
I
in a minute that we've started recording this.
Just in the last minute? Okay. I thought you were going to say like over the time we've done. No, just in the last minute. You've had some serious self-discovery.
I dug real deep.
Okay.
Found out who I am.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening over
I
there.
don't either, but
okay.
you
seem happy. I can tell you that. You are full of glee. Just happy.
Yep, that's me.
Okay, well, hey.
So that's our theme.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
I got questions for you,
Oh,
Erin.
what?
Erin, what did you want to be when you were little? And if you didn't become that person, why did you choose not to go in that direction?
I wanted to be a marine biologist. So spoiler
I remember
alert.
this now.
I live in Iowa and I'm not a marine biologist. And part of the reason I didn't go that direction was one, I didn't show a lot of affinity for science. I wasn't really nailing
so
that
the biologist
subject.
part was difficult.
In my mind, I jumped right to like the feeding of the animals. Like when you go to an aquarium and you're that guy that's like, look at me. I'm one with these guys. And then I'm giving them like the penguins love me. Look how happy they are. Like I went right to a real like selfish, self-fulfilling version.
SeaWorld showbiz type role. Okay. Okay.
Not SeaWorld because I was woke enough to know that that wasn't legit. But you know, like a research type center, you know, where I was, that's what I imagined.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I realized is that a lot of marine biology research takes place in Florida, and that is a swamp that I can't survive in.
It's a terrible place. Yeah.
So terrible place.
Terrible
just so
place.
humid, and I can't do
that's
it.
one of the reasons it's terrible.
Yeah, just
but
one. Yeah. Sorry, Florida, but I mean, you know, I think.
Yeah, you have to know.
You know.
Wow. Okay, so marine biologist. Man, life would have been different.
I know. I was dedicated to it. I had like all the books. My room was a fish theme. I was in it.
So it did not bother you that we grew up in a landlocked state?
Didn't even occur to me that this might present
a
education problems. Yeah.
Okay. So at what point would you say you gave up on this dream? Just now?
Senior year of high school when I was like, I have to pick a college.
move.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, science isn't going well.
Nope.
So that might not be my best option moving forward. I seem to excel in this English area. What is wrong with me? English. Wow.
I seem to excel in English.
I am killing my English grades. Science and arithmetic, no. Keyboarding, also great.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah. Man. Well, I'm sorry. I'm pouring one out in my brain for your young Erin, who had to see her dreams dashed by reality.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, is there something in your life that you've given up on after realizing that maybe it's just not you?
I've got a surprise for you, Erin.
Oh.
I was in a sorority for 2 years.
What?
This is something I very rarely talk about because it was such a ginormous shit show.
There is dead silence because I have never been more surprised. Like, I was mad at you about the jury duty thing because you withheld that great story forever, but you were in a sorority for 2 years?
Yes.
Why is this not a reality TV show that I could binge?
It's a great question. It should have been, because it was like, those games where you try and stick a diamond in a circle or something. It was not working well.
Yeah.
I think the main reason is I really had, at the end of high school, I was like, I want to be something completely different. I want to be somebody completely different, because high school sucked.
Okay.
Like, grades wise, it was great. I enjoyed all that. But socially, I just wanted to do something different. So for some reason, that was what came up in my head.
Sure.
So I rushed, and oh boy, this could all be its own episode where I just tell you all about this.
I'm fascinated. In fact, I don't care if we get to anything else today. I need to know everything about this.
I'm so glad I chose our podcast to come out with this information.
Yeah.
I'm coming out to you, Erin.
And
I
no
was
prep.
an ex-sorority
This
person.
is not a lie.
Nope.
I had no idea this happened.
I never
ever
told
in your
Erin,
life.
because I'm embarrassed of it.
Fair enough. I mean, I want to sugarcoat that for you, but...
No, it's embarrassing because, like I said, I wanted to be someone else. I wanted to be, I don't know, not popular anymore because we were starting to be in the real world and everything. I just wanted to be someone that was confident and like all of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I'd never really had very close women friends, and I wanted to, have, for some reason, I thought sisterhood was real. That was not real. Also, it was just basically a situation of being around a lot of rich ladies because they charge you up the ass for a lot of that stuff. And that wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And I was breaking a lot of rules, and they were getting down on me, and I quit.
What rule did you primarily break?
Like attendance rules. They make you attend things.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
And, just thinking like you got nothing else going on in your life, so come on over. Yeah.
I am picturing someone trying to tell you what to wear. And
there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
That's the part where I figured you would have quit like day 2.
No, I was that desperate to like do something different.
Did you have to wear specific colors sometimes?
Yes. I want to see if I have a picture. We all had to take sorority pictures where we had like a little shawl thing that mimicked a V-neck, and it was like a black velvet shawl where we left our shoulders exposed. And it was all of us taking these pictures. And I didn't buy one of those, so they made me use a used one.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, all of their events, you had to wear certain color dresses and all that shit. Yeah.
There's so much about this that it could be such a great TV show. I want Ryan Murphy to make it.
Oh, God. Ryan Murphy would be wonderful at this.
I mean,
it'd be amazing.
This is such rich, fertile ground for me to tramp all over.
This is also when I discovered the suburbs of Chicago, because almost everyone from these sororities at University of Iowa came from the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, I gotcha.
Wealthy families.
Yeah.
And it was like cheaper to go to Iowa than it was to Illinois. And they introduced me to Old Navy. And in 1995, I was that's cutting edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. That was something I tried, and then I gave up after realizing, God damn it, this just isn't me.
I mean, that's okay.
This took me way too long to realize this is not me.
But you did, and that's what counts.
tried it.
And you have embraced your life so hard, I can't even picture you in a sorority.
I mean, after I left that, I pretty much did a full 367, 20, whatever. Like, I was like, yeah. Twirled around so much.
20? Were you a skateboarder at some point too? Okay. Did a half pipe out of there.
Honestly, I think it was like attending a couple classes around the time that we're talking about like gender studies and women and everything. And I really started, I think, becoming a feminist while I was there because I was recognizing there were so many retrograde roles going on.
Yeah.
Everyone got so excited when a boy pinned them and so excited when they got engaged at age 19. Mm-hmm. It was gross.
I got you.
It was real gross.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
No.
I'm
glad I surprised you.
You really did.
But
That
guess
was a
what?
Shocker. What?
We have more questions we got to get to.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
We
I
got a
don't
whole
have time.
show.
I mean, I don't know if my mind can get back on track, but I'll do my best. I will do my best.
All right, Erin. Mm-hmm. What's a time that you have felt the most outside your comfort zone as an adult? Did you join a sorority too?
No,
okay.
no. I mean, it's kind of like a sorority, but no. I got invited to an in-home party that was for a, yeah.
Oh,
I
know this story.
It was for a lip product called Lipsense. And I generally don't go to in-home parties because I don't really like the idea of it. I find it kind of annoying and offensive that because I have an acquaintance of you, you think I need to spend money, all that. Okay. So I don't love it to begin with, but there was someone that I felt like had made a lot of effort with me. I wanted to return the favor, all that. So I went, and I didn't know anyone else besides the person hosting. And fundamentally, I realized quickly that I don't even agree with the product that's being sold. And not only that, but there was no one there that didn't seem like a robot for the product. It got really weird. If you're unfamiliar with this product, you apply like a base layer and then you apply multiple layers of color and then a gloss, and it's supposed to never come off. It's supposed to last for like days.
And the best part of this story, describe how it feels when you put these things on.
And they tell you that it's going to feel this way, but it feels like your skin is being burned off by acid. And they tell you that that's because your lips aren't healthy. That's what they tell you. They asked me if I had used any product that day, and I said my Burt's Bees chapstick, and they said, you need to wipe that off.
Right, because that's destroying your lips.
Because that's what it was.
Yep.
I will also tell you that I threw up that night when I got home, and I think it's because I was ingesting the stuff. I was trying to get it off my lips. I could not get it off that night with even makeup remover. I woke up the next day with like flakes of lip on my pillow, flakes of color, and it on my face. It was... I can remember driving home and thinking, I do not belong there.
No,
like, what was I thinking?
No.
I don't have that kind of A, mentality to begin with, and B, I couldn't get there. And everyone was standing around talking about the, like their latest diet, and they were, there was like no,
There's just no one there that you can connect to on a real level.
And if there was anyone talking, they were trying to sell you something. It was like makeup based. And I was like, I just don't know if I can get on board with this.
No.
And then you feel obligated. You have to buy something.
Yeah. Is that how you got out of it eventually?
Yeah.
Buying something?
I did. I went right to the table and I said, give me the starter pack. And I gave him my card and I said, see ya. And I got out of there. And I remember driving home having a real weird, like uncomfortable feeling, which was supported largely when I walked in the door and Mike was like, what is happening? Because the color is so vibrant and I don't normally wear a lipstick. It was still on the next morning. So like taking your kid to school with no makeup on and your lips just look like, and I swear they were like swollen from trying to get the stuff off. It was.
What's great is Erin and I met in a writing group and not long after meeting is when you wrote an essay about this. And it was one of the funniest essays I've ever read because it was so terrifyingly real.
Yeah, it was a real moment in my life. Yeah.
I just picture you in the shower washing your lips and just crying.
That's what it was. And it just wouldn't
throwing
come
up and crying.
Yes, I was throwing. It was so many. My body was rejecting it on every level.
Oh, God.
So I've accepted that.
You're just not one of those women.
No, I'm just not. And that's okay.
That's definitely
and you know what?
okay.
You know what else I've accepted? Burt's Bees is not bad for your lips.
It is not. It's wonderful.
Lipsense, 100% alcohol/acid.
Yep.
Terrible for your lips.
Yep. Just going to burn your lips right off.
Yeah, they feel plump because they're swollen from damage. Oh, it was traumatic.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it did make me wish that I was better at hiding, my face sometimes.
Oh, God.
So
we're terrible at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a personality trait that you wish you had, but you never will?
You know what? Whenever I'm in a social gathering or social setting, I wish that if someone says, let's play a game, it doesn't strike fear and dread into my heart and cause me to sweat profusely. I wish that I could hear that and be like, cool, let's play a game. Instead, my reaction is, I got to get the F out of here right now.
Immediately.
Yeah.
This game thing is
I don't know what it is. It's just, God.
I feel like at some point you're going to have some aha moment and some crazy memory is going to tumble out of games. And then we're all going to be like, oh.
Straight up trauma that I buried somewhere.
Was it related to the sorority? Did they play games a lot?
Oh my God, maybe they did. Did we play games? Honestly, I blocked a lot of the sorority out.
That's fair. Don't dig. I don't want to. No, you don't need to go down that road.
Don't make me do it.
No. As a friend, I say no. Keep that door shut. Some things need to stay.
They do.
Up. Yep.
But you know what? After this episode, I will show you a few pictures because you need to see this. And I've waited long enough to share this with you.
I can't believe I didn't ever know this information.
I don't tell this information to a lot of people.
If someone had given me a true-false quiz about you, I would be so confident in our ride or die. I would have for sure said false.
That's because I've worked very hard to just go complete opposite.
And then they would have laughed in my face and said, your ride or die is a falsity. She was. She's hiding this part.
So I've shared that with you.
All right.
And now with our listeners.
Yes.
So the secret's out.
Secret's out.
There it is.
Right there. Amy used to wear Greek letters.
I did indeed. On that note, no, that's not a great transition. I'm just going to pivot. Pivot hard.
Pivot. I need pivot.
I'm going to pivot hard to some fiction about Who Am I?
Yes.
I have picked a book called The Need by Helen Phillips from 2019. Have you read this?
No, I literally just bought it.
Oh, God. Okay, Erin, I think you're going to like this. So Molly is a mom to 2 young kids. She's also a paleobotanist because she's super smart. And she is working at a archaeological dig at an old rock quarry. So one night, Molly is home alone with her 2 young kids, and she hears footsteps in the living room. Now, she is super sleep deprived because her kids are very young, and she's been breastfeeding, she's been pumping, she's been playing with a toddler, trying to keep 2 tiny humans alive, and she's just kind of out of it. So she actually chalks it up to, no, I'm out of it. But then she hears more footsteps, and she confronts the intruder, who knows way too much about Molly and her family. Meanwhile, like I said, she's been working at this dig in an old quarry where she's been finding really weird stuff. She finds a Coke bottle with the wrong font. We can all picture that font for Coke, right? It's a different font. She finds a toy soldier, one of those green toy soldiers with a monkey tail. She finds a Bible that has different verses than we know and refers to God as she. So all of this stuff, especially the Bible thing, has brought all the crazies to the dig. There's lots of really strange, religious people, all kinds of stuff. This intruder is also fixated on this place, as well as Molly and her kids and her husband. I honestly can't reveal much more because there's some major stuff in there that it's just too good to ruin. Yeah. But I can say that Molly and the intruder, they come to sort of an arrangement, and one that makes her question everything about herself and her life. So there's a little bit of sci-fi here. There's a ton about the strangeness of being a mom. And, me never having children, I imagine that those of you who do have kids like you, Erin, you will find a lot to really dig into here and be like, God damn, that's it right there. It felt very, very real from what the stories I've heard from you guys. There's a lot too in here that says who would I be if my life was different? Who would I be if I'd made different choices or if different things had happened to me? The structure of this is so propulsive. You just tear through this thing. It's kind of a puzzle, too. You're putting together different timelines. You're putting together, different puzzle pieces of various kinds. And all throughout, because she's in that state where she's, her body is the main thing keeping these two young kids alive, it feels sort of dreamlike too, because she's just kind of tired and out of it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I chose it for this because everything about this book is centering on, like, who am I? Who am I as a woman? Who am I as a mom? If I've made these choices, who am I? If I've made different choices, who am I? Overall, I think the best word I can use for this book is it is haunting. Haunting AF. It is weird. It is eerie. It's pretty unsettling, but it's also extremely gripping, too. Have you looked at the author photo for this book?
No.
She has shaved her head. She is bald and beautiful.
Ooh.
And looks badass. The 3 Bs right there. Bald, beautiful, badass. Yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah, I kind of love everything about it.
Okay. I just got this.
Excellent. I think you'll, I hope.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Once you dig in.
Sounds amazing.
I expect some IMs.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You usually get them. Well, the book I picked for the Who Am I, for the fiction category, is called Property by Lionel Shriver. And this is actually, I'm bending the fiction category. It's fiction, but it's actually a collection of short stories between 2 novellas. So if you're unfamiliar with a novella, it's basically a longer short story, a little longer in form. So I know I'm pushing the fiction boundary a little bit.
These are the rules we've set for ourselves.
But it's worth it.
Yes.
And I just really liked it for this pick because she really, the whole idea of property, which is the name, is that she really explores it in like every possible meaning in this book. So not only physical property that you own, but also how our need for property and control and power. Does that mean we own the property or the property owns us? She explores the idea of people being property. It's wonderful. So like there's a story about a couple that buys a fixer-upper and is in the process of rebuilding their property. And it basically destroys their relationship from the inside out.
Yeah.
There's a story about a man that's now caring for his elderly father, and he's kind of losing himself by day till he just can't take it anymore. There's a story of 2 subletters who are duking it out over this space, which they don't actually own because they're subletters. So over this property, to me, the theme just embodies the slippery slope we take when we have a need for possession and we allow possession of property or stuff to become our identity instead of maybe what we think or feel or, our characteristics. We allow those things to stand in. And I think that theme is really explored in a lot of different ways in this book. And I like that in an episode where we're talking about who am I?
Yes.
Who am I without this stuff?
That's so interesting, especially in our, capitalist culture where it is all about the things that we own or the things that, we buy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never heard of that. I've read other things by her.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Excellent.
Yes.
Bending the rules.
I'm not always a rule follower.
Actually, you are.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. That's true.
Especially the rules we set for ourselves.
Yeah.
Strict rule followers of ourselves.
We are.
Yeah.
But then we want to rebel against it, too.
We do.
It's like a cat in a box. I want to freak out, and then I'll just settle down and take a nap.
Yep.
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, I was just checking for her podcast. She was napping earlier with her back to us. Again.
Back, yeah.
So, yeah, just checking. She's gone.
Yeah, she's gone.
She'll pop in at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So,
sorry.
For other genre picks, I chose one that you and I have both recently read. It's called Wild Game. My Mother, Her Lover, and Me by Adrienne Broder. This is a memoir that just came out. Hot off the presses. Yes. This is a doozy. Would you agree with that, Erin?
Man, it is a doozy might be the best way to describe this.
Yeah. Doozy. So, here's the thing. One night when Adrienne is 14, her mom wakes her up and says that their family friend Ben has just kissed her. This is the first of many red flags for Adrienne's mom. One of them, or multiple things here, Adrienne is married to another man.
Adrienne's mom is married, yeah.
Yes, excuse me. Adrienne's mom is married to another man. This guy, Ben, is married to another woman. And she's waking up her 14-year-old daughter to tell her. So, to this point, Adrienne has grown up with her mom, who's very vibrant, very wild, very dramatic, the kind of mom that you just feel like, when her attention is on you, it's like, oh my God, everything's wonderful. But when the attention goes away, it can feel disastrous. So now her mom needs her. And so she becomes her mom's confidant and a helper in an affair that lasts for many years. And like I said, by the way, the affair is with her husband's best friend, who's also married. And the four of them, the two couples, are very close. Extremely complicated situation.
Very complicated.
One of the things here is that Adrian, because she's 14, and then as she gets older, she believes everything her mother says. She believes when her mom says, love can't be controlled, or that, the marriages are just formalities. Really, it's just me and Ben forever. Mm-hmm. Or that one day, Ben and her will get married and everything will be wonderful. All they need is Adrian's unlimited help to keep the secret and find ways for them to be together. That part is the super doozy for me, is...
Yeah.
Help us sneak around behind the others' backs. So this is all super twisted. And it gets worse because, Adrian gets older. She gets to college age. And she's realizing there's something wrong here, but can't quite detach herself from this crazy web that her mom has made. And when she does try to get away, her mother kind of pulls her back. She has this sort of leash on her. Then, to top it all off, Adrian falls for Ben's son, linking the families in marriage. So this is all a crazy-ass story. But the reason I picked it for today's theme is because Adrian, the writer, has had to do a lot of hard, long work of looking at who she is after this situation, especially apart from her mother. She had to figure out how to live with the harm that their secrets had done to a number of people throughout the families. She had to battle some deep depression over, her situation and the role that she was put in. She's had to come to terms with, from my perspective, a very highly selfish mother who didn't really know how to mother. And especially as Adrian becomes a mother herself, then has to do some more work of like, well, how do I mother in relationship to this? So some very, very hard-fought independence and sense of self that kind of wraps up this story. And that's what this whole entire book feels like, is that sort of digging in to figure out who the hell am I? A doozy, Erin.
It is a doozy.
Yeah. What else did you think about it? Anything I didn't mention?
No, I thought you did a great job of really explaining, the complicated part of finding yourself in the middle of a complicated story, which is true to a lot of people's lives. I mean, everybody has kind of something to deal with, but also the way sometimes we ignore how that's embedded in us. Like we don't even realize maybe that by the choices we're making or the things that we take offense to or how we set up our life, that sometimes we're reliving some of those hurts or not really acknowledging them. So they're coming up in a different way. But it was, I read it very quickly.
Me too.
Very fascinating. And beautifully written. Very well written.
And the fact that it was fact and not fiction was even more compelling, but also that she allowed herself to dig this deep and then share it with the world, which is really brave, in my opinion.
Very brave. Yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Great pick.
Thanks, Erin.
So for my nonfiction pick, I picked a book called The Fact of a Body by Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich. I will tell you up front that this is one of the most intense reading experiences that I've had in a long time.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm not even sure that I'm ready to talk about it yet, but it fits.
Let's go
and
for
we're
it.
going with it. So this book opens, the author is about to start a summer job at a law firm in Louisiana, working to help defend a man accused of murder. She's the daughter of two lawyers, and she's been decidedly anti-death penalty to this point. She has been very staunch in her beliefs. She went to law school. She thinks she's got everything figured out. So she gets assigned to this case of Ricky Langley. And as soon as she starts working through the files and reviewing old tapes, she has this very specific feeling of wanting him to die. And this throws her off because she's been so, she's supposed to be helping him avoid the death penalty. She's having this strong urge that he should face the death penalty. And it's so different, that feeling that she's like shocked and scared by it. So she starts to dig deeper and figure out where these feelings are coming from. And she realizes that ultimately the case is very familiar to her in an unsettling way. And basically it becomes a parallel to a story of a period from her own life. And remember that this is nonfiction. This is a memoir.
Yeah.
So she takes the reader then on a very evidence and research-based ride through the Langley case. So she's explaining law, giving fact, relating it to other cases. But then she also takes the reader through her own narrative and explores all the similarities. And the effect is really unlike anything else. It's like a memoir and a murder and some law lessons, but it's dark and really gut-wrenching, and her facing these facts that were very similar to her own life or this own story. And ultimately, the point that I took from it is that she's throwing out this notion that one person's narrative or version of the truth is not actually the whole truth or the whole story, and how unsettling that can be in cases where we believe there's just such a right or wrong. Mm-hmm. That, yes, there can be right or wrong, but that still isn't the whole story.
Wow.
And so it's very gripping. It's very emotional. She's a beautiful writer. So even the parts where she's explaining law or taking you through the case, you feel like you're on this kind of, slow moving ride with her where she's explaining it in the most beautiful way. You're like, oh, I'm learning in this, amazing fashion. And then she's taking you on this other right through her family. And you just feel so emotionally connected to everything that's why I think it was so intense. Yeah.
She's still a lawyer?
I'm not sure that she is now that she's a writer. Yeah. I will say, if you have triggers, this book is not for you. It does deal with sexual abuse and some family issues, murder, that type of thing. So if those are triggers, I would there really is no way to sugarcoat it here. Mm-hmm. It is a very intense read, so that's probably not going to be a good thing that you're going to want to pick up. But if that's not something if it's something that you can get through, then it's worth it, because it's really beautiful. It's just beautiful in a different way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. How long ago did you read this?
Gosh, probably like a year and a half ago.
Wow, and you're still reeling from it.
Yeah. When I thought about it, and I was like, that's the perfect book. And it's come up before when we've prepped other themes, and I thought, and then I was like, no. And this time I was like, no, this is, because really the story is about her finding herself and like, who am I? Like, I thought I was all these things, and now I think I'm all these things, and all these things happen to me. So what does that make me? And where she gets to at the end, it fits so perfectly here. But yeah, it's an intense, very intense ride.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds, got to gird myself up for that one.
Yeah, it's great, but it is different. And so it's odd because there's a true crime element to it. Mm-hmm. So it was a very different reading experience from a lot of the other true crime I've read. It was I've read a lot of beautifully written true crime, wonderful job, but this was it's just different.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to look that one up.
The title's genius when she breaks it. Oh, man. Yeah. Woo. She did it. Let me tell you. She got me good.
Again, it's another utility player where she starts out as a lawyer and then she's a freaking good writer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is lyrical. Yeah. Whew. It's a doozy.
I don't like it when people are talented at more than one thing.
No,
I do, but I resent it.
I know.
I'm jealous.
I'm with you. I know.
Yeah.
And you get the impression, actually, she'd make a wonderful, professor or something, because she has this great way of, making very complex things. Not simple, but just explaining them in a way that you can understand their complexity, which is probably the hardest thing to do, I think.
Damn it. So she's a lawyer, a writer, and also a born teacher.
Yes.
Damn it.
Masterful.
It's annoying.
I know.
I'm not good at multiple things.
And she's got great self-introspection. Self-reflection? Introspection's already self.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can you mash them together into a new word?
Self-prospection.
I think now on, in every episode, you should just make up a word, and we start our own language.
Broads and Books Dictionary.
Yeah.
I like
the
it.
Lingo. Get to know the lingo.
Get to know the lingo so you can be as informed as the Broads and Books.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, for pop culture, thinking about who am I, I picked a podcast. This is another original fiction podcast, hot off the wires or wherever the podcasts come from, which
Sure.
we know because we make a podcast.
Cable optics. Optic wires. Sound waves.
Yes.
Straight off the sound waves.
The sound waves. This stars Joel Kim Booster, who is a stand-up comedian. He's also in that show Sunnyside.
Yes.
As one of the terrible rich twins.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing in that show.
And I love him as a comedian. So funny. In this podcast, he plays a 28-year-old named Paul. And Paul is a waiter in what sounds like a suburb/small town outside of LA. He lives at home with his Korean immigrant mother. And he doesn't speak much Korean, which is one of the barriers to them having a close relationship. She speaks English, but it's not her first language, so she's not as confident in it. Another reason he's not very close to his mom is he won't come out. He's closeted. And he just, for some reason, he doesn't feel comfortable telling his mom. He worries about the cultural layers there, all of that kind of stuff. So he's kind of stuck until he learns about this class that he can take about making podcasts. And he resumes his love of music and audio engineering and sort of blossoms as part of this class. But then he really has to take a look at his life and see if he's living it well, especially his relationship with his mom. So there's 8 episodes. Each is about a half hour. It's a very quick, bingeable listen that you can get into. And we hear Paul try to figure himself out. We also hear his mother try to connect to him in some very, wrenching and beautiful ways until he has to make some key choices. One of the things I like about this is it's kind of a quiet podcast. And by that, I mean it's a relatively simple story. It's a small personal story of a young man just trying to figure out life as a gay man, as a Korean man, as a suburban guy, all these different levels of an identity, trying to figure them out and figure out who he is. It's also sweet. It's really funny. It's touching. It does, I will say, there is some explicit sexual material between Paul and his boyfriend, sort of boyfriend. If you're turned off by that, maybe ask yourself why, and then listen anyway. I got no patience for you. Just listen anyway,
Listen. And what did you say the name of the podcast was?
It's called Moonface.
Moonface.
Yes,
okay.
all one word.
Nice.
Yes. So yeah, it's wonderful. It's a really quick listen. It's great stuff.
Wow. Sounds delightful.
Yes. Joel Kim Booster. All day.
All day. For the
and
win.
also look him up on YouTube. Look up some of his stand-up clips.
I'm going to now, yeah.
He's great. He talks a lot about the fact that his name is Joel Kim Booster, not a stage name. It's like a real name that his adoptive parents gave him, and he's, likes to mess with that.
Sounds amazing. Okay, well, I picked for the pop culture pick is a movie. It came out in 2017. It's called The Big Sick, written by Emily V. Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani. And it is actually it's hailed as a romantic comedy, first of all, but it's actually written by these two because it's their story of meeting and getting married. And he stars in it. She doesn't, but the plot is basically that Kumail is a Pakistani comic who meets an American grad student, who's Emily, at one of his stand-up shows, and their relationship develops from there. But underneath it, he has this intense worry that his traditional Muslim parents are not going to accept her. He can feel this great connection, but he knows that that's not what his family expects. And so through that, he's allowing his family to still set him up on kind of arranged marriage dates. There's all this kind of humorous things happening. And then there's a big twist where what they call the big sick happens. And Emily ends up in a coma. And Kumail has to come face to face with how he feels with this new relationship, and with this new relationship he forms with her mom and dad while she's in the hospital, which is the best part of the movie. You've seen, best part of the movie.
It's Ray Romano and Holly Hunter.
Yes, Holly Hunter. Yep. So it's based on, like I said, based on the two stories of these two writers. And that's what makes this movie, I think, unique and interesting. Also, I saw this on a plane, and I'm not afraid to admit that I cried my eyes out like a weirdo by myself at like 4 a.m. by Seattle, somewhere in the air.
It's such a gamble to watch a potentially sad movie on a plane because you're up in high altitude. You're all weirded out with time, and your body's just like, we're going to have a cry. I don't care who's around.
And Mike and I were on that plane together, but we weren't seated together.
Oh.
And I was just sobbing, and the guy next to me was sleeping. And I was like, this is a mess. This is life at its best here.
Goodness.
Yeah. So it's worth it.
Even if you're on a plane.
And
you have to have a
And
cry.
it stands up. It's not just a good airplane movie. It's a good movie.
Stand up. Yes. I've seen it down on the ground.
And it stands
It was
up.
wonderful.
The altitude here still takes it. Yes. And he was recently in that movie Stuber.
Yes.
Stuber. Yeah.
He was in The Men in Black, too.
Yes.
So he's blowing up.
He is.
Which he deserves to.
Get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's also a really funny clip, if you want to look right now, for some reason, as part of the promo for Stuber, that he did this like Google Live thing where they could ask him any questions. Oh my gosh. And because he's a stand-up comedian, they were like hilarious.
Of course.
Somebody asked him how to say his name, and he's like, I don't know, I forgot. I just started laughing. I was like, that's the best.
That's the best way of saying, like, listen, I'm not going to do this for you.
Yeah. It was great.
Wonderful picks. Man, we both chose very deep identity searching pop culture picks along with the others too.
Right. So get into it. Get into it. Find yourself.
So I want to check in on you, Erin.
Oh, God.
It's been about 40 minutes since you've heard about my sorority time. How are you feeling?
I am in shock. Okay. I have been on autopilot for this whole episode. I've just been like, read my notes because my mind is back to what I've pictured. What I have pictured, and this is probably not accurate, but I've sort of pictured one of the outfits from Mean Girls, which is you in like a pink furry sweater, a pleated skirt. For some reason, now you have blonde hair.
Oh, no, I don't.
You're pinned with some Greek letters.
Yeah, none of that's real, but
I also picture people saying things to you, and then it's your actual Amy face just being enraged.
Maybe that's why it didn't go well, too, at the sorority, is I can't control my face, and I never could.
Okay.
So there were games, too. Maybe that's part of it.
I'm just saying. Something to explore.
Yeah. And there were all sorts of, like, arts and crafts times and bullshit like that. And, yeah. So this was a trauma touchstone, you might say.
I just feel like so much of a sorority is sort of centered on groupthink, and that's
it very much is, and that's what I didn't see going into it, but then immediately saw once I was into it. But it's very hard to disengage yourself.
Oh,
after a certain point.
Yeah,
kind of like a cult. To be honest.
Did you ever live in the house?
I did. I sure as hell did.
First or second year?
Second year.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. But I was also dating someone pretty seriously at the time, so I wasn't spending a lot of time at the house, which was a problem for them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You were getting... So... When they would perhaps take issue with your behavior, would you get a note? Would you get a direct talking to? How did this transpire?
Well, remember, this is in the Midwest, and passive aggression is our, go-to.
Okay.
So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of sniping behind people's backs, that kind of stuff. The hallmarks of girl culture in many ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. At one point, I took on some sort of leadership role, and it was a shit show.
So you were trying to invest.
I was really sure. Like, once I was in, I was like, I'm going to commit.
Yes.
And really try and make this work, as much as everything in my body is telling me, what in the actual F are you doing here? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Again, I would like to revisit the idea of making this a series.
Yeah. I'm down.
I think that what you need to do is spend some self-discovery time.
Sure. Yeah.
Jot down every great story you can think of.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea, because I've put it all away. Buried it deep. If I start opening that, oh God.
And then what we could do is pose those situations, and you could tell me what Amy did then, and I could tell you what I think Amy would do now.
We should definitely do that. Wow. Like sorority Amy versus real Amy.
Real life Amy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I feel like I should have more.
There was a lot of singing.
Wait, what? What?
There was a lot of forced singing.
Singing?
Singing.
What were you singing?
There was stupid songs that the sorority made.
They made up songs and you had to sing them?
Yes.
And you agreed to move in the next year.
I was like, well, I've never had sisters. Maybe this is what sisterhood is like. I
have never felt so topsy-turvy. Everything is wrong.
Again, this was a danger of being the only girl in my family. Like, I don't know this shit.
Songs they made. Did you have to make up songs?
No, but we had to memorize the songs and then sing them pretty much on demand. Yeah.
In what situation would a song be on demand?
Well,
do tell.
All sorts of sorority events, especially when other fraternities were involved. Yeah. Huh. It was real weird.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep. Anyone who's not interested in this is already checked out by this point. This is purely selfish at this point,
have
but
so
it's fun.
many follow-up questions. I don't even know how to form them. They're like coming, like they're hitting the front of my brain so fast.
Again, this is one of those times I wish this was a visual podcast, because even when I first laid it on you at the start of the episode, your face was just like, does not compute.
Yeah, it was like,
what? Huh?
It was like
doing
smoke
a joke
coming out of my
What's
ears.
happening? Is this a joke?
It's got to be a joke. This isn't real.
No. Full on real.
In fact, my body rebelled so much that my foot just fell asleep for
Oh
no
my
reason.
God. Your body's like, I don't know what to do.
Shut down. Shut down. This is not right. Shut down. Holy buckets. Well, I'll try to regain myself by next Wednesday, but I can't promise I won't ask more questions.
Okay. Hey, now that the cat's out of the bag, as you might say, which why is the cat in the bag? I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird, but
now that this
probably sorority told you to do it.
Probably. Now that this piece of information is out, we can parlay it into future conversations forever.
I'm glad to hear that. I'll be getting some questions together, so you can look forward to that next Wednesday, because that's when we'll be back. But in the meantime, we've got some other awesome stuff on our website, and you can check out all the recommendations we made in this episode.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? We've got bonus material.
Bonus!
And man, oh man, we got some good bonus stuff coming your way. Solid gold.
Solid gold nuggets coming your way.
And they will all be found if you subscribe to this show on your podcast player. They'll come right at you, or they'll be on our website.
Like a quick little delivery.
That's right.
Yes. And after you get that bonus material, you get the new episode, and you're like, I want to share this joy with the world.
Yeah, I do.
Maybe not in a sorority song, but in another way.
Yeah. We could make up our own sorority song, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
A Broads and Books song.
Yep.
While we work on that, you work on a review.
Yes.
Write one.
Tell us that you can't wait to hear more about the sorority shit show.
Or tell us you don't ever want to hear about it again. We don't care.
We don't care.
Just reach out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guess what? If you reach out and you have even the inkling of an idea for a theme or something,
period of an idea,
something cooking up of an idea, then let us know about it. If you think of a theme for a future episode, we'd love to hear it.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the website.
Happy reading. I'm up again. Same night, another dream. Before trying this recording thing, I didn't remember much of anything of these dreams. I didn't remember much from any of the women. And one night of doing this, and it's broken things open. The dreams they're in me, and they're coming out of me, and...
Talk to me. I am not broken. I am the most whole, most real.
Cause their despair. I wait for the word. Witch.
Look at the mad woman in her cage. She was a woman with holes inside her. That was the heaviest factor, the final evidence, the heart of the issue.
Somehow, you understand this. You hear me. Wherever you are, whatever this is, you... This isn't a dream journal anymore. It's not. It's just fact. Because now this is some sort of record. What are these dreams? Maybe there's a better question. Who are these women? Weird Woman is a Broads and Books production. All 9 episodes are available January 10th. Listen and subscribe to Weird Woman on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platform. That's WYRD Woman, wherever you listen to podcasts.